Welcome to section 15.2, part 2. This is the 158th session of the CISSP exam prep series. This part moves past mapping the network and into scans that actually probe for known flaws. In this session, we'll go deeper than the map and start finding real weaknesses. We'll answer several questions. What does a network vulnerability scan add? How can a scan be wrong in two directions? What can no traditional scan ever catch? How do credentials sharpen a scan? And why do web applications need their own kind of scanner? Why does this matter beyond the exam? Because knowing a port is open is only half the story. Picture an insurer whose customer portal passes every network check, yet quietly leaks records through a flawed input field. The open port map never sees it. Deeper scanning is what surfaces the actual holes, not just the doorways. On the job, this is the difference between a tidy inventory and a real list of what could get you breached. So what does a network vulnerability scan add? It goes past finding open ports and starts probing for known flaws. These tools carry a database of thousands of documented vulnerabilities, along with tests to check whether a system suffers from each one. Instead of just noting that a door exists, the scanner rattles the handle to see if it gives. The result is a ranked list of specific weaknesses on specific systems. Think of an inspector who does not just count the windows, but tests whether each latch actually holds. How can a scan be wrong in two directions? Because no automated test is perfect. Sometimes the scanner flags a problem that is not really there, a false positive, which wastes an administrator's time chasing a ghost. Far more dangerous is the opposite, a false negative, where the scanner stays silent about a flaw that genuinely exists. The false positive annoys you. The false negative is the one that gets you breached. Treat a clean report with healthy suspicion, not blind relief. What can no traditional scan ever catch? A brand new flaw that nobody has documented yet. Scanners only know what is already in their database, so a vulnerability the vendor has not identified stays invisible. That kind of unknown flaw is what we call a 0-day, and it slips right past ordinary scanning. This is why scanning is necessary but never sufficient. It catches the known, but the truly novel attack arrives with no signature to match. Stay humble about what your tools cannot see. How do credentials sharpen a scan? By letting the scanner log in and look from the inside. By default, scans run without credentials, testing a system the way an outside attacker would. That view is useful, but it is also shallow, and it produces more false alarms. Give the scanner read-only access, and it can read the actual configuration, confirm real versions, and cut down on both false positives and false negatives. An unauthenticated scan checks the locks from the street. An authenticated scan walks the halls with a master key. Do some assets need their own kind of scan? Yes, and wireless networks are a clear example. Specialized tools assess the encryption and security settings of your wireless environment. They can also work alongside passive listening to spot rogue devices that quietly attach themselves to your network. A hidden access point is an open backdoor, and ordinary network scanning may never notice it. When the medium is the air itself, you need a scanner built for the air. Why do web applications need their own kind of scanner? Because they are exposed by design and dangerously powerful. Web servers must offer services straight to the internet, and firewalls usually wave that traffic through untouched. Behind the scenes, those applications often hold privileged access to sensitive databases. Attackers exploit exactly this, using techniques like injecting malicious database commands through a web form. A web application is a storefront with a direct line to the vault, which makes it a favorite target. So what does a web vulnerability scanner actually do? It scours a web application for known flaws that other scanners miss. The tool automatically manipulates inputs and parameters, probing the way an attacker would, then reports what it finds, often with suggested fixes. Crucially, it uncovers weaknesses that a network scan would sail right past because it understands the structure of the application itself. Picture a tester who does not just check that the shop's front door locks, but tries every form on every page. Aren't network scans and web scans basically the same? They rhyme, but they are not twins. Both probe a server's services for known flaws, yet each looks in a different place. A network scan does not dive into the inner workings of a web application, and a dedicated web scan ignores everything that is not a web service. Some tools do both jobs in one package, which we call a hybrid scanner. Before you trust any scanner, confirm it actually covers the objectives you care about. Match the tool to the target. When should you actually run web scans? At every moment of change and on a steady rhythm. Scan every application the first time you start this practice to flush out legacy problems. Scan any new application before it reaches production, and scan any modified one before its code changes go live. Then scan everything on a recurring basis, giving the most sensitive applications the most frequent attention. New, changed, or simply overdue, each is a trigger to scan. Can a rule force you to scan at all? Yes, compliance often makes it mandatory. Certain regulated environments, like those handling payment card data, require regular web application scanning outright, or a dedicated web application firewall as an added layer of protection. In those cases, scanning is not just good hygiene, it is a documented obligation you must be able to prove. When the auditor asks for evidence, a schedule of scans and their results is exactly what you hand over. So, let's bring it together. Network vulnerability scans go past open ports to probe for known flaws, but they can err as false positives or false negatives, and they never catch a 0 day. Authenticated scans see more by logging in, and wireless assets need their own specialized checks. Web applications, exposed and powerful, demand dedicated scanners, sometimes bundled as hybrids. Scan on every change and on a schedule, and remember that compliance can make it mandatory. The MCQs covering all the topics and concepts from this session are available on rucloud.com. Practice the chapter-specific MCQs before moving on to the next session. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or feedback, post a comment below or email us. I will see you in the next session.